Welcome everybody to the next episode of the Lost Holocron podcast. I am your host Didge, and with me, as always, is the homie AJ. How you doing today?
What's good? What's good? I'm excited to be back. Ready to talk Bad Batch, like always, and other Star Wars news.
Definitely, like always, I'm also super excited, and we are also excited to have with us Jamie. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm also excited to talk Bad Batch. I made some predictions last episode that have quickly been proven false, but I'm happy about that. So I'm glad to talk about it.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll definitely get all into everything about the Bad Batch episode. It'll be a shorter conversation because we don't have 3 episodes to talk about this time, but it'll definitely be a good conversation. But first, I want to talk about some gaming news that we got over the week. First up being that the quickly, I feel like so quick ago, announced Star Wars Respawn first person shooter game has already been canceled due to the overwhelming wave of layoffs that have just rippled the gaming industry. AJ, how are you feeling about this? I remember when it was announced, we threw it in Discord.
Was it an official
We were
announcement
excited.
or was it a rumor?
I thought it was an official announcement.
Yeah, I
I'm
thought
not.
I thought it was an
It
official.
might have been a
Let me
rumor.
see.
We Either way, we know for sure that it's not happening.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, AJ, how are you taking that news? It seems like that's par for the course for a lot of Star Wars games, if we're being honest.
Not just Star Wars games; it's just Star Wars in
Games in
general.
general.
It's like a curse with just Lucasfilm for some reason with Star Wars. It's just we're going to announce this. Oh, never mind. We're going to backtrack and like not announce it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I can't even be upset at this point. It's just pure
I can.
disappointment. Uh, yeah, it's just pure disappointment for me. It's just stop announcing games. If if you don't even know what's gonna come out, then just don't announce it until you're like 100%, not even 100, like 95% sure you're actually gonna do it.
That's fair. I agree with that, especially just in the fact of one, games already take so long to develop. Like, and I don't,
Hmm.
not even just because they'll announce it at the start of development, they'll be in pre-development for games and be like, but this is on our list to be coming out in, the next 3 or 4 years. And who knows what can happen in that between time. So I do agree with you. It's just so frustrating to have a game be announced, you get all hyped up for it, and then all of a sudden it's just gone.
hmm
Jamie, what are you thinking about this? Were you? I know you were also one of the people who are excited. You're not afraid of like first person shooter games. So, how are you feeling about this, especially as someone who is very big into gaming?
Yeah. I think it's really unfortunate, and I was also kind of confused with like, oh, we just found out that this project exists, and looking at Insider Gaming's coverage from like a couple weeks ago, back when it was like first hit, I guess like Twitter and all the different internet spaces. It was
Sure.
rumored by Jeff Grubb, who said like they're working on a Star Wars game, and then further specified that it was going to be like a Mandalorian game. So it makes more sense now that it would get canceled, and instead of being like, "Oh, we're doing this game. Never mind, we're not doing it anymore." Um,
Fair.
I wish it was still existing, but yeah, I'm sad about this news because I think the Mandalorian has become like one of my favorite Star Wars like stories and like characters to follow. And I think they really could have done like a really good job because they have been working on Apex and Apex. I really enjoy Apex. And I've
Hmm.
also enjoyed the Jedi Survivor game. So having like a combination of those two things, I think could have been like killer, like something that everybody would have loved to have played. So it's unfortunate. That's also like the whole layoff situation that's been happening throughout the game industry and probably will continue to happen this year. I think we'll probably get hit harder this year than we did last year. Um, it's crazy, and like AJ was saying, I'm more and more starting to think that we shouldn't be announcing these games so far out. Like I understand it's probably for investors and shareholders, like
Hmm.
get
Yeah.
excited, like invest in us, get in early while like the prices are low, I guess. That way we can all make max profit or whatever. But it's it's just not paying off anymore. Like I think fans are tired of always like waiting for something to come out if you announce it like several years in advance. And I'm sure the developers, they don't like to have this like pressure on
Yeah.
them as far as like, okay, fans know that this exists, now we have to like try and like live up to whatever expectations were put on like this small snippet of a trailer alone. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing is unfortunate, and I'm hoping that we see success with Outlaws, because maybe the project can be revived in some kind of way. But yeah, I wish we could add a Mando game. That would be cool.
Yeah, I think you hit up a very good point. We were both of you talking about how games get announced and it's obviously for investor benefit, and it essentially is starting to fall into sort of the same path that movies are, where things get announced, they do this whole big hullabaloo about it, and then all of a sudden it's really just so that way they can be like, all right, get in right now, we're actually going to probably using this money to do the actual development or do the
Mhm.
actual work on it. And then when it doesn't get the results or even the, I guess, just notoriety that it should have got, things down the line get impacted because of that. So like,
Hmm.
you know, and like you said, um Respawn has done great with their games, but because they're a subsidiary of EA and EA has had so many misses recently, they sort of probably felt the brunt of that when it's almost not fair. But I mean that, I guess that's just capitalism or whatever. But it does kind of suck for both the consumer, the developer, and just the company as a whole, because how are you feeling, how do you get that morale when it's like it's here today, gone tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or in the case of this game specifically, supposedly here, and then when you get the confirmation of that it was happening, it's to let you know that, well, it's actually not anymore.
Mhm.
So what are we doing here? And I think that's a larger conversation of what's going on in entertainment right now.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that needs to be talked about. And I hope that with the waves of the layoffs and just the cancellations, the movies, being done, getting taken out, because that's definitely a part of this pie. Um, I hope that it gets the I guess the like notoriety that it should, or like the attention on it that it should.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's like I also feel like there's like some light at the end of the tunnel for people,
Sure, yeah.
with Toys for Bob, and I want to say it was Saber Interactive. Correct me if I'm wrong, but those two studios recently went back to being independent, so they got away from like
Yes.
the corporations they were attached to. They still have those relationships, so I'm sure they'll be supported in some kind of way. Um, but I think that's kind of the way to go with just like entertainment in general right now. Like things are getting way too big. Game budgets are
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
ballooned to be just incredibly huge. To the
Yep.
point where, a game like Spider-Man, like we don't even know if PlayStation really made a profit off of that. And it sold like millions of copies upon like the first week. So I think we need to go back to being like a little bit smaller, go back to basics. We don't need like 100-hour, 200-hour games all the time. It's not
Say
necessary.
that when we get in Final Fantasy. We just got
I
Final
am
Fantasy.
excited for
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, but not every game needs to be Final Fantasy.
You spoke about Saber Interactive, and that leads me to, actually, no, before we talk about Saber Interactive and their game, also in those Respawn layoffs and cancellation news was the confirmation that Jedi Survivor Part 3 is coming out. So that's something that, like I said, I want to make sure that it's not all doom and gloom here. That is a nugget of good news. I think we all expected it based off of the first two games.
Hmm.
But I know from AJ Shrug to what's sort of been the sentiment for a lot of gamers recently is, cool, I'm happy for it, but I'll kind of believe it when I see it. Is that
Exactly.
sort of where you guys
Yeah.
are sitting with any type of gaming release that's not this calendar year?
Um,
I just need to see a trailer or saying that it's in development, saying that it's being made at this point. I don't need an announcement that it's coming out anymore. Just give me an announcement that it's being made.
Well,
That's
I
all I need.
think let me double check. I thought that was like it's in development.
I I mean, I fully expected there to be a Jedi Survivor 3,
Right.
so I
Fair.
wouldn't have been surprised
Yeah.
about the announcement or anything. But this has been like a weird year in general for gaming. Like PlayStation is not coming out with any first party exclusives this year. Looks like next year will also be the same for them. Or yeah, next year will also be the same for them, I think. Um I don't know. It's very strange. And we still don't really know what's coming to the at the back half of this year, which is a little bit
Hmm.
unusual. Um so I'm not necessarily skeptical if there's like a new announcement for something and like I have to wait to see. It's really I feel like it's definitely case by case, but
Also
yeah,
keep in
things are weird.
mind, also keep in mind that the gaming industry even in the movie industry, everything that's happening with COVID, that's happening now right now. So like all these layoffs are the effect of COVID. All
Oh
Mhm.
these
yeah, for sure.
it's so we're getting the effects of COVID now, which is a huge problem. I'll even probably like a year or two from now that they'll actually get back on their feet, not just video games, but every industry basically.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we talked about it a bunch in Discord, just about how everything that's coming right now is sort of like things shifting back to where they were before. Like it's so interesting to hear about record profits at
Hmm.
the same time of record layoffs. And I think it's because those two things went hand in hand where
Mhm.
things were going so I won't necessarily say well during COVID, but people were at home. They had more time to do all of this stuff.
Right.
And so they did get into a new habit, a new normal of, okay, well, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to play this, I'm going to do this.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
all of a sudden, as now you have you have more freedom to go back to either whether it's just being outside, whether it's going on vacation, going on trips, doing whatever where you're not at home, you're not playing as many video games. Um the profits are there, but it's I feel like it's probably starting to go down. And I think if we noticed anything from just the way that COVID was handled to the way that going back to regular life was handled is that businesses are in very much the overreaction realm
Yeah.
versus the underreaction.
Hmm.
So everything is magnified 5, 10, 20 times when it probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's gonna be like for the next, hopefully, this year will be like the brunt of it, and then we'll start to see things like start to improve.
Level off.
Yeah,
I'll
kind of
say
level
two
off.
years. Next
I
Two
2
hope
years or
it's
years.
something like that. Yeah.
I hope it's not that long. I can't stomach it. We didn't even talk about the Knights of the Old Republic because that's another thing of all right, cool. You can say it, but let me know when it's actually coming.
Yeah.
When can you have something that's concrete for me to hold on to?
Yeah, and it's like these companies, they're a lot of the layoffs are happening so that way they can say they have profit or they've made profit because they're not paying as
Mhm.
many people now. So it's like,
Hmm.
oh look how well we're doing, like we're doing so great. It's like, well, you just have that money because you're not paying those people anymore. So
Yeah.
Right. So
that's a
yeah,
lot.
I mean that is definitely the lay of the land, especially in Star Wars gaming. On the movie standpoint, we did get a title, I guess. First rumor, then just a correction of it. The rumored title for Ray's upcoming movie was Star Wars 10, a new what was it?
Order.
A new beginning. That's
Oh,
right.
no,
No, it was a
no.
new beginning. And then there were some people who came out and said no. Their sources at Lucasfilm are still saying there's no other titles that have been referenced. It's still just under the working title New Jedi Order. So again, a lot of confusion out there. But the big thing I was interested in because Mike actually brought it up when we were talking about it in Discord is he was shocked that they were still going with the episodes title. Are you guys shocked by that they're still using episodes even though this would be after the Skywalker saga? Did you sort of see that as a Skywalker saga thing? Or do you feel like that's like a mainline Star Wars movie thing? Because I actually had never thought about it prior to that.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a mainline story thing instead of like
Yeah.
it just being specifically for Skywalker Saga. But
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
really don't care what the title is.
I don't. Yeah, fair,
just
fair.
just give me a trailer and I'll
Mm.
be happy. I don't really
I
care.
mean, you're probably not getting a trailer. Let's be honest, this
Yeah, oh, for
calendar
sure.
year.
I already know this. I'm asking for too much at this point in time. But
Yeah, I, was gonna say, I don't think I don't know. I think they would. So they've announced it. I don't even know if they have a writer, director, any of that. It's just
they
sort
should
of
have a writer.
yeah. I think they do have the writers. I thought I remember Daisy Ridley saying that she saw at least the first draft of the script.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. But either way, they don't have a movie, so we or not a movie. They don't have a title, so
Yeah.
we know that we're nowhere near to the point that we're going to be seeing some type of trailer or just anything else. Because I don't know how many times they use the working title and then just stick with that all the way throughout production. I feel like it goes through some revisions here and there,
Hell, look
especially
at
as things start to flesh
James
out.
Gunn, Superman. That just switched titles.
Seriously, yes. That's a perfect example. Superman Legacy is now Superman, so um a title change somewhere down the line, I feel like it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah.
But either way, I think we can all say that we're still just here for the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I was not super pleased with the most recent trilogy, so I will be walking into this with some cautious optimism. But Star Wars is always fun, so
So the Jedi, or I guess what it's being titled on IMDb is New Jedi Order. They do have a
That makes
director,
sense.
and and it does have a writer. Stephen Knight
Ooh.
is the writer for it. This
That's
is on
right. We talked
IMDb.
about we talked about the director. I'm looking at it on I'm looking at it now
Yeah,
and I do
we
remember
did talk
talking
about,
about
yeah,
that.
how she's under scrutiny right now for
Yeah. I mean, she was going to always be under scrutiny, let's be
yeah, fair
honest.
enough.
So, I'm not like it's whatever, but it'll be interesting to see where that goes, especially because she's very much a nonfiction director a lot of the times.
Hmm.
So I'm
Mhm.
interested. Like she's done a few stuff, fiction direction. Like she did a couple episodes of Miss Marvel, all of that. So I'm curious how it goes as she gets her feet wet more into fiction directing. Um, Probably from a director's point, it's probably there's probably not much difference, to be honest. But it's something that stuck out to me.
Oh, she might hit it.
She might.
It's always those directors that you least expect it. So
Right. I'm going into it with optimism. There's a little caution behind it. You are right, Jamie. So, but I'm optimistic, and like you said, at the end of the day, Star Wars is more often than not a fun time.
Yeah.
cautiously optimistic.
Hmm.
It's the name of the game. That's how I go into a lot of stuff nowadays. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
that's how you gotta do it.
You do. You don't want to go in too hype, and then you kill it with expectations, but you also don't want to go in too low that you just like, well, they didn't completely be terrible, so this has got to be good. And it's like, well, you missed some actual flaws because you were just thinking it was going to be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
But let's get into this Bat Batch episode. Like I said, it was just the one episode this time. It was a direct continuation of episode 3, where we started off immediately with Omega piloting the ship of their escape. Were you guys shocked that we were getting right back? I remember our predictions was, well, they're gonna jump stories again. Like we're not gonna start with them. And immediately, like you said, Jamie, at the beginning, we were proven wrong in that regard. So
Yeah.
like, how are you guys feeling with the way that this episode took? And just sort of give me your overall thoughts. We'll start with you, AJ. Yeah,
Yeah. So overall thoughts, I thought it was really good for me. Spoilers alert if you haven't watched it.
it's
Yeah,
obviously
yeah, you
spoilers.
should have already watched it by now.
Yes.
I was happy at the end that they found Wrecker. and Hunter. It was a beautiful moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It was a tense moment.
it
Yeah,
was, it was,
yeah. I
it
was
was
kind of
very
surprised a
tense.
little bit. Like I
Can't
didn't
wait
think
for
it
the
was.
next episode. Now the
Mm-hmm.
next episode more than likely will be like it might skip to Asajj. I'm gonna tell y'all that now. I'm putting my
Whoa,
bet on that.
Mm.
I'm putting my bet
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
that would be
But
interesting.
overall, this episode was really good for me. I like the dynamic between Crosshair and Omega throughout this entire episode. Um, yeah, it's just the the way these two play off each other. I like how Omega is slowly getting into um God, Crosshair's mindset and vice versa with Crosshair with Omega. Um, I wasn't a fan of the bribery, but that's just a thing of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm.
there's that. But overall, I did have a good time with this episode. Nothing really much happened besides the end of the episode, so it was short. It was short and simple for me.
Yeah, it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jamie. I'll let you go.
I was actually just wondering, like, what about the bribery did you like not like? I guess, like, I don't know. For me, it was just like, you do what you got to do. I guess.
It's a typical Star Wars trope that for me, I think we need to get away from.
Mm.
I guess it speaks to like real life and all of that, which is fine, but it gets played out after a while,
Oh,
especially
okay.
since Star Wars has been out since like 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's get some new material for me. It's just that.
Okay. No,
that's
that's fair.
fair. So that's actually what I was going to expand upon. Is I feel like that's sort of the lay of the land of the galaxy,
Yeah.
especially during the height of the Empire. I think they kind of want to show that, well, there are two sides to this empire almost. You got the people who are bought into the militaristic, the regime.
Hmm.
They're so focused on that this seedy underbelly gets a chance to develop, and you get the people who are like this commander. I can't even remember his name. That's how forgettable he
Mhm.
I think
is.
it was Han or
But
something like that, Commander.
okay, but he was the person of, well, I don't have a lot of power overall in this world, but in my little microcosm of this,
Hmm.
I have all of the power, and I'm going to use
Mhm.
every instance that I can to really, I guess, extort that power. So like that's how you get to the people like the person who was just wanting to get the chips off there, or the credits rather, and they were just like, well, you can pay me, you can get on, because
Hmm.
again, it keeps funneling down to, I don't have a lot of power anywhere else, but in this one little thing, I do have a lot of power. And I feel like you said, it probably mimics real life a lot.
Hmm.
But I can understand someone saying like, well, I'm just tired of seeing this.
Mhm.
Like,
It speaks to how corrupt Star Wars as a whole is as well,
mm-hmm.
but there's other ways to convey that corruptness, I should say. Yeah. Um in different ways, but I guess bribery is just the simplest way to actually express that. So,
I feel like it's the
Mhm.
least messy way, where it's
yeah.
like that whole thing of them trying to get the credits to the ship so they can get out of there wasn't supposed to be a whole thing. I mean, obviously we see at the end of the day they never even went back to that anyways.
Mhm.
But it feels like it's a way that you can show that, like, well, hey, this place is dark, but also you don't have to open up 10 million different storylines because you done shot the
That's true.
person, and now
Yeah.
now somebody's gonna want revenge or whatever, and it's just like, all right, let's just get this over and done with. But like you said, it's definitely something it gets overused, not even just in Star Wars. I mean, you see it in almost every time somebody needs to get away somewhere.
Mhm.
If they can't sneak their way on, it's, well, time for bribery, and it's just like you said, there's different ways that you can convey that.
Mm. I guess I don't know. That's interesting to me because I I don't know if there's an instance where I feel like somebody is so honest to the point where they'd be like, "Are you trying to bribe me? How
That
dare
is
you?"
true. Yeah.
That's so rude, you know?
You
Well,
don't think it's
it did
you
happen
don't think
in
there are real people in the
Solo.
world?
I'm pretty
It
sure it
did.
did happen in Solo.
Was it Solo?
It might have been Solo or Andor, one of the two.
Fair. But it's definitely I've either even if we can't remember the direct one, it's definitely happened to that point where you do get that because that's also, to be honest, if we're getting to cliche, that's the cliche way to sort of circumvent that. They always
Mhm.
go, "Well, I never. How dare you bribe me?" And then it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, the bribery didn't work. Now we gotta." Then you go to Plan B or C or whatever, and it's, "Well, now we gotta find this other way." But like I
Mhm.
said, place or things don't want to do that so often that they go to the route that you just said, like, well, how dare you not bribe me? How dare you bribe me? Well, okay, fine, just this once. And it's like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here?
Yeah. That was interesting though. I'm glad I heard your
Yeah,
perspective on that.
it's a valid criticism. I didn't think of it. I'm gonna be honest. I just saw the bribe because we remember Jamie and you and I watched it together. So like when it happened, I was like, oh, the bribery's coming. All right, next thing.
See,
How are
it
they gonna
speaks to that as well. It's like it's just so obvious that that's what Omega was thinking. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like maybe there could have been a way that they would have like outsmart is not the right word because it's like who or what are they outsmarting, but just like
right.
maybe some way they could have strategically got around that situation or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's probably the easiest way to do it with the bribe.
it's I guess it's better than just a shoot 'em up type of situation, which was
I
Crosshair's
really thought
choice.
that's what was gonna happen.
Not gonna lie though, as they were going up, I was like, all right, they about to kill this person, make their
Yep.
way on.
Yep.
Omega was like, "Nah, we ain't killing nobody."
She's like, let's try my way first.
Which, they were trying her way a lot through the episode. I like that they got to the point. I thought it was going to sort of be a running gag for the season. I'm glad it sort of ended in that episode of, all right, we're going to try my way. We're going to try my way. And then it already immediately got to the point like, all right, my way didn't work.
Yeah.
Let's try your way. Because that's also another just running plot point for a lot of stuff where
Mhm.
it's when you have the two differing personalities. So that was good. You started to see sort of Omega's personality just really entrenched where she so much is everybody gets here. Everybody comes along.
Mhm.
We don't leave anyone behind.
hmm
And I mean, there are at points where I was just like, girl,
You need to
somebody got
chill.
to get left behind. Like, yo.
Yeah.
It speaks to her purity though as well.
hmm
So
hmm she's for sure not as jaded
mhm.
as anybody in the Star Wars
Especially
universe or
Crosshair.
apparently me.
Crosshair is like,
Yeah.
fuck everybody.
I know. It was really interesting that I don't know. I don't know if she'll ever have the opportunity to like go back and save the people that she left in like the
hmm
cloning facility. I don't know. What would you call that?
Yeah, facility works. I don't know, the
Yeah,
laboratory.
the lab. I don't know if she'll ever have the chance to like go back and try and help them, but I also found that interesting because while we were watching, did point it out like, yeah, she's just like trying to save everybody. I'm like, you can't always save everybody. Like
You cannot.
I will say that she persevered with like Crosshair because even Crosshair, he was like he didn't want to be saved. He's like, just do what they tell you to do and go about your day. Like leave me
Mhm.
alone. And she was finally able to like get through to him and like kind of crack his I guess
So
exterior a bit, yeah, his shell. So I still don't think she's gonna be able to save everybody, but she'll try. She'll try
No.
and take
yeah,
as many as she can with her.
there needs to be that nexus point where she realizes that she can't save everybody. I hope that we actually get to that point within the season. We should get to that point in the season since the last season
Right.
hmm
where she realizes that she can't save everybody. And I think that's what Dave Filoni's going with. That's why he's emphasizing Omega and why she wants to save everybody now.
hmm
So I'll even say like near the end, probably like episode 12, 13, somewhere around there, that she realizes that not everyone can be saved, which is something that needs to happen, and it will help her with her growth in the future as well. So hopefully that will happen at least.
Yeah, and I think at some point she might have got a taste of it in this episode where the stakes were very low, obviously, because you're just facing this one captain and everything, but it was still the stakes of, well, your instance of wanting to save everybody led us to here where we were facing a essentially an ambush. I mean, he got when she got there, that entire squad was there. He was able to quickly call in reinforcements, and it was just by the fact that all of these animals got loose
Mhm.
that they were able to get out of there. So it's
Mm-hmm.
she's starting to feel it. I really don't think that she's learned much from this particular instance, but I think it's good that they're laying down the groundwork so that way when it does hit the precipice, they can be like, look, this isn't the first time this happened. It happened here, it happened there, it
Yeah.
happened that. This is what we mean by you can't save everyone. Look how messy it got us. And like you said, yeah, it's definitely it's huge for growth, because it does take you from that pure innocence to you can stay still innocent, bright about the world, but you have sort of a more realistic look at it. Like it's not all rosy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm gonna bring this up. Even in Captain Marvel, or sorry, the Marvels, the dichotomy between Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, um, you see one that wants to save the whole world, and one that says we can only save who we can, and
Mm-hmm.
that
mhm,
speaks a lot to what um Crosshair is trying to show to is trying to express to Omega, but Omega is not truly understanding that. And eventually, hopefully, eventually, she will start to understand that. So,
Yeah, I think so. We're like, I don't know how much older she is from when we first started the series, but um I definitely think there'll probably be like maybe another time skip before we finish out and we'll see her at somewhat of a, I guess, young adult age, and probably things will be a lot different for her where maybe she doesn't think that she can save everybody, but she'll try her best, and
or she
that's all you can do.
does, or she does.
No, why do you want this? You think
so
she's gonna die?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I would be surprised, to be honest.
Hmm.
What? Why?
We'll get into theories later. We'll
Yeah,
Oh
we'll
we'll get
man.
get.
theories at the end. We'll continue trucking through the episode. So, AJ, I know you said you weren't a fan of the initial bribe scene.
Mhm.
Does that extend to the whole gambling aspect too, where they had to gamble to get the credits? Then here comes the commander. Like, how did you take sort of the pure showing of just, well, this is how corrupt this town is?
I, it's fine. Once again, it's just a pure Star Wars trope. At a certain
Mm-hmm.
point, you get tired of it. I got tired of it, but at the same time, I accept it because that is what Star Wars is. So there's that.
That's fair.
I just wanted to point out that one crit. I'm not. It's not really a criticism. It's more of a gripe more than anything.
Yeah, no, I get you.
So honestly, I don't even know how to fix it because it's just so ingrained into Star Wars mythology, basically. So it is what it is at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I guess when you're trying to show the seedy underbelly of society,
Hmm.
how many different ways can you actually show it? You got murder, you
Mhm.
got gambling, you got, I don't, violence just in general,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and prostitution. I
yeah.
guess that's where those are like your four. Like if you want to show like, oh, this is the rough town or
Mhm.
the rough part of the country or whatever you want to show. Those are really your ways to do it. And I guess of those four, gambling is probably the safest,
Yeah,
especially for something where you still want all ages to be able to enjoy it. So I think that
yeah.
also leads into it. But Jamie, I'll pose the same question to you. How did you feel about just sort of, like I said, the preferred method of seediness and just showing gambling?
Um, it felt very familiar to, I guess, just yeah, it felt very familiar, kind of what AJ was saying, where we kind of have we've seen this kind of thing before. I didn't feel that way about the bribery, interesting enough, but like the gambling, the gambling, I was like, oh, okay. Like, even Omega, I think she mentioned it, like, I've hustled people like this
Hmm.
before, like,
Mm-hmm.
just let me do my thing, let me cook for a second, Crosshair. And I wasn't necessarily bothered by it, but again, like AJ was saying, being able to explore like a different way to communicate like the seediness, like the the I guess just like the temperament of the area would have been something that's like a little bit more interesting. That being said, I do think it was fun to watch Omega like hustle like this dude out of all of his credits. And even the like captain commander person, like, even beating him at his own game
Mm-hmm.
was pretty funny. Um I was also kind of surprised that she ended up winning the game against the commander, because they started messing with the dog, like, oh, I can't have this dog in here, like he's growling at me. I thought she was for sure going to get distracted and he was going to try something kind of like try something to, I guess, cheat while she wasn't paying attention, but no,
Same,
that didn't
actually.
happen like that. So she ended up she's just too good at the game that she won.
Yeah,
So that was interesting.
interesting. Yeah, I brought it up because that was the part where I was like, oh, brother. Like, I think the same thing that how AJ felt about the bribery. I do get tired of seeing gambling is the preferred method of seediness, because it's just like people gamble everywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not a negative thing. It's
Yeah,
just
it's just like, why this? Like, so I fully understand what you meant by the bribery thing. It's just like,
Yeah.
be more creative, I guess. I don't know,
I
but
will say, I feel like Omega kind of put Crosshair on some game a little bit, which was interesting when talking about, like, oh, she was going to hustle these guys out of their money. And Crosshair's like,
hmm
well, like, how are you going to do that? Like, we don't have anything to, like, put up to bet. She's like, they don't know that. They're just going to sit down at the table and play and see what happens. I'm like, oh,
no,
okay.
that was terrible gambling on their part. They went in with zero
Was
zero
it
chance.
terrible, or, was
they
Oh
it,
was
no,
they were
confident.
playing the mental games?
They was
Exactly.
I
confident.
The
no, they
mental.
were. It worked for Omega and Crosshair, but I'm saying for everybody else who went up against her, that was terrible gambling on their
Oh,
part.
yeah.
You're supposed to. If somebody sits down, you need to be asking them, "What do you got to put up? Let me see your credits on the table."
That's true. Yeah, I don't know.
So
She they had I guess they kind of had to position it so it's like, oh damn, Omega, she's smart. Like she's street smart. She know what she's doing. But realistically, it would have been like, okay, like how much you gonna put up on the table,
no,
And the game would have
there's
ended
fully some
there.
probably. No, I'm sure there are fully some people who would have fell for that.
Yeah, but I don't know. Even just I was expecting somebody to ask, like, what are you gonna bet?
Well, she only gambled with the one dude, and he was cocky
Yeah, but
apparently.
even still, it's like, even if you're so cocky you think you're gonna win some money, let me see the money I'm going to
I get
win.
you. I fully get you. But he clearly didn't care enough. He
Yeah, I
just
know.
It-
maybe he thought he would just take them out if they didn't pay up.
He was high on life.
Okay. That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
And so then I guess honestly those were primarily most of the episode. We'll get to the very last part of the episode, the reunion, which was
Woo.
heartwarming and tense at the same time.
Yeah.
I was really curious how that was going to go down. I didn't think we were going to get it this episode, to be honest. I thought
Mm-mm.
when they had left on the ship that it was going to fade to black, and I was like, okay, there's our cliffhanger.
Thank
So
God it
actually
didn't.
seeing the reunion, would that have hurt the episode for you if that's
Yeah,
how it
yes,
ended?
it would have. Yep. 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 Thank God it didn't.
That's funny.
Yeah, it would have hurt the episode for me too. That's because it. To be honest, this entire episode felt like a filler
Yeah.
all the way up until that reunion.
It was like, Crosshair and Omega bonding, but
Yeah, you get that part. So like,
they
it's
weren't
I
making
guess my
progress towards anything though while they were doing it.
yeah.
So it was kind of, it was fillerish. It was definitely
Yeah,
foolish.
it wasn't filler to the point of like, oh, this episode didn't need to be there because, like you said, it did a lot in terms of character development.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, for 95% of this episode, what did we really care about?
Credits.
Like, unless you big on gambling or what, trying to learn that game that they were playing,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't care.
Yeah.
Nothing in this episode really mattered.
Oh,
But we got the reunion, so like, did it go down the way that you guys thought it was gonna happen? I'm gonna be honest, it was tense, but I thought a punch was getting thrown.
I mean, it still could.
It still could happen.
Yeah,
It still
it
could happen.
It still can. But I thought it was going to be as soon as you see him, and just one of those. And then we could talk. So the fact that they just stared off and then it goes to black
Yeah.
was like, all right, where's the explosion of this tension?
Oh, that would be kind of hilarious. Like Omega runs to like Hunter to get the hug, and then Wrecker runs. He's like, oh, hey, brother. He's like, bam. And that it just blacks out. That's the end of the episode.
I'm trying.
That would have been
We're
great.
not gonna get any more of that reunion after this right here. They're just gonna go on their merry way, go on to another adventure.
That was the height of the tension.
Yep.
That would be
No,
That's all.
they
That's
gotta
all.
be
I
disservice.
guarantee you, that's all we're gonna get.
That's a disservice.
I feel like AJ is right. That's probably what's going to happen. But for me, so this scene went in an unexpected way for me because I thought they were gonna see each other. I thought that them and Crosshair there would be like a little bit of tension, but overall it's like oh you brought my kid back to me, like you're cool. We're brothers. We're always brothers. Whatever. I was not expecting
betrayal.
I mean, there was a betrayal, but
it wasn't a
it's your brother. It's your brother.
It was a betrayal, but it's also still a betrayal.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're right. It's your brother, so like, it can't ever be. Well, I can't say it can't ever be, but it probably shouldn't be completely over forever. But I think that's also probably why I expected like a punch because it's like you got to let me get at least my lick back. Like I got to be able to do that.
Look, we lost tech in that process of you betraying us. I gotta get something back from you.
So it's like I think if that wouldn't have happened, then I can be like, okay, sure, it would have been just it's my brother, but yeah, somebody died.
Yeah. Listen,
My
you
other
lost
brother
one
died.
brother, you gain another. I don't know.
Gain another.
Brother
You
math.
didn't gain anything. You did not win
Anybody.
Well, he was out of the group. Now he's back in the group. It balances out.
Okay.
Lost two brothers. We got one back.
Yeah.
So AJ, you say that we don't get anything in terms of that's it for the reunion.
Yep.
We're on our merry way. It's POV change.
Yep.
Do you agree with that, Jamie?
I feel like no. Originally, like before seeing this scene, just imagining how the reunion would have went in my head with like, I guess my clearly optimistic ideals for the reunion.
Yeah.
I was thinking, they meet up and then they just go on their merry way. Now I feel like because they set up some tension, like there has to be some kind of like resolution or like conversation, just about like everything that has transpired between them before they move on. Like they might like get on the ship and then start that conversation, but I don't think the tension is just like immediately dead in the next time we see them. That's my thought. I don't think we'll see them next week. I think it'll probably go to something else. AJ, he threw out a Saw's Ventress. That would be cool.
Yeah, I want to expand upon that because now both of you guys think this is for the second week in a row. Because last week we all said it. We all said like, oh yeah, we're gonna go POV change. And granted, we didn't think they were gonna meet up together, so we just thought we were gonna go to the opposite POV. But why are you guys still convinced that we get a POV change?
Look,
I just don't see
we got one wrong, okay? Eventually, we won't get one right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You say it enough times. We'll be right eventually.
All right. Fair. That's fair enough. So AJ, you throw out a Saw's Ventress. Obviously, we know at some point she's coming. let's hear your theories on that.
Okay, so what I don't think we're gonna meet up with her. I think we're just gonna like go to Asaja's point of view, basically, as her being a bounty hunter, just hunting some.
Could be Omega.
It, I don't think it's gonna be Omega. Um,
Hmm.
I think it's just gonna be just some random guy that she's hunting at like first scene type of thing. But
Oh, okay. So,
yeah,
to
like
sort of
Yeah,
showcase that she's like a
she
thing.
yeah.
back at it.
Okay.
But eventually she will meet, or the team will meet up with Asajj, or something along those lines. Basically, is what I think is going to happen, and what they will need her for, I can't guess. I don't know, but that's all I got on that one.
Mm.
Okay, that's an interesting theory. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea where the show is going, so I can't throw out a theory.
Neither do
Yeah,
I can't. But look, you're at least trying to go out here. Like, okay, this is where I think it's going.
Asajj
I
is
really
best
do.
guess to me. I don't know.
It is. It is. I think it's going to continue onto there. I do think that this scene extends leading into the next episode where you sort of start seeing the fallout. Whether you're right, Jamie, and it goes onto the ship, or whether it's still right there. I do think we're gonna kind of sit in this moment at least for the first part of the episode
Mm-hmm.
before you sort of get to, well, now we can focus on what is the point of the entire season as a whole. Because obviously it's not to get the gang back together; they're back together.
Yeah.
So what is our goal? And I think that's where you start sort of getting that fleshed out,
Yeah.
whether it's through some knowledge that somebody has or whatever.
I think we what is the lady that has been working with Omega since she was little?
Nalase.
Oh,
Nalase,
okay, yeah,
yeah. I
yes.
think I don't necessarily think that Nalase is going to become a main character in the way that we'll follow her perspective, but I feel like we'll start to touch base with her a little bit as far as what this gene is that Omega has and what makes her special. And I feel like that'll probably be the focus for the rest of the season, or at least one of the big things. Because like I mean I don't know if y'all know. I don't know what it is that they're looking for, or yeah, like what about that
So
gene they need. So
So one of the theories is that the M count is Mandalorian count. So it'll like
mm,
c- see if she reaches this threshold to be able to use the Force or not. Basically, that's one of the theories.
Yeah, that's the one that I heard.
that would.
That's
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna make a random prediction then, since with this
ooh, let's
newfound
hear it.
information,
Let's hear it.
somehow maybe Asajj Ventress comes back to be Omega's master. She does have force capabilities, and Asajj is like, you know what? I'm gonna turn over a new leaf. I'm gonna just start
I'm
training
gonna turn
Omega.
over.
I'm gonna train Omega to be a powerful warrior because clearly she's a child. She thinks she can save everybody. Well, no, but you can go ahead and kill your enemies. So there you
That's a very hopeful outlook. Even to the point of you think that Nala is still gonna survive. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think she gone. Her
I think
story's
she
well, I
done.
gone.
never said she was gonna
I don't
survive.
think.
I just said we're gonna learn more of what she knows.
But that's the thing. I don't think we see. I don't think we see her anymore. Like
Dang. I think we'll see
I
her
think she
again.
died an off-screen death, and like that's what
No.
at the point where you get to the point like, oh yeah, she's gone, and it's
Dang.
another way to sort of hurt
I
Omega.
don't know. I don't think they kill her off because I'm like, who else has that knowledge though? I think they definitely like she might not have an arm or something next time we see her,
Oh my
but
Not an arm.
I don't think she'll still be around.
god!
Not an
You know, maybe that
arm.
neck will be a little bit shorter. I don't know.
Oh my god!
It's like bop down the head.
They bring it down to her side.
But I think she'll still be around.
Oh my god!
Uh,
Okay. So I guess we all have some type of range of theories. I think Nalase's died. Jamie, you think that Asajj is going to train Omega in the ways of the Force,
yeah, let's do it.
and AJ just thinks Omega or thinks that Asajj is just going to show up. So it's going to be interesting to see who is right, if there's any combination of us that are right, or if we're all just wrong, which we already were once.
Yeah.
So who's to
Look,
say
one
it
of
won't
us can be
happen?
right eventually.
Right, one of
Right.
us has to be, and I'm gonna be honest. I hope it's me.
I don't think I'm gonna be right.
Not necessarily just so that Nala say could be gone. I just like to be right.
Okay. I mean,
So I didn't want people to be like, oh damn, why he want her to die so badly.
Nah, that's what
I
he
It
mean,
has
wants. That's what he
I
wants.
I could see her dying. I just don't feel like it's like she's already dead. I don't think she's already dead. But speaking of people dying, AJ, you thought you had a prediction or a theory that you think Omega will die by the end of this series.
yes, we need
Yes.
to talk about that.
I'm
So
curious as to why.
going back to the theory of the M count that that was approved that Omega had, I think that she will be taken again. And that I won't even say, yeah, she'll be taken in again at the end of the series, but that would be it.
Mm,
But she will be used for experimentations. I actually do believe that everybody in the Bad Batch will die. So Wrecker will die.
dang.
Oh,
Um,
you think it's just gonna be
yeah,
Hunter.
it's gonna be dark. I promise you, it's gonna be dark. So
Oh,
Wrecker dies. Hunter dies. Everybody in the Bad Batch dies basically.
dang.
Omega is captured. They take her blood, all of her blood. She dies, and it is
Dang.
used for the.
You are painting a dark
It is
picture.
used for the necromancy. What is it called? Necromancy.
Oh,
Oh, that's
Project Necromancer
Necromancy. Yep.
for
for
oh yeah, for
the
sure.
for
I do
the
for Palpatine. I do think this lays all the great groundwork for
Yep.
that for sure.
yeah.
I do think
What
that
if Omega does die? Okay, I have two theories now. What if Omega dies and then Asajj uses her witch powers to reanimate her? And
I
then
don't
second
think
I
that.
one,
like your
I don't
I
think
like
that
your
will work.
I
second
like
one.
your hope,
What
Jamie.
I don't
if
think
they
that will
take
work.
Omega? They do kill her, so she dies in both of these. But they do kill her,
Jesus.
but they make a clone of her, and Omega 2 they send back out to the Bad Batch, so that way she can be a
Omega 2.
spy on the inside.
Wait, spy for what?
Spy for I don't know. She just
She
letting them
ain't think
know
that far.
where
She
they
just
at.
looking
No,
for hope.
those were quick
She is
theories. I like one of them.
she is looking for hope at the moment. And I think we'll leave it there where we have our theories. Jamie's is I don't know, she's just hoping for a happy ending.
I'm writing for a book.
AJ is telling you it's going to go to complete
I'm
hell.
Trayvon at this point right now. It's just gonna be.
I'm some I'm somewhere in the middle. We get a couple deaths. I
Dang.
do think that Omega gets captured again.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's probably the end of her story. She got captured. You're
Mhm.
sort of left to believe what you
Oh.
Yeah.
believe.
Oh no.
And it's, but I'm a little bit more hopeful because I didn't say everybody in the Bad Batch died. So, like I
Yeah.
said, you got pure hope.
Mm.
You got just pure despair. Just be prepared to cry, or you could join me somewhere in the middle where it's like it's gonna be sad, but hey,
What?
that's
Hey,
life.
look. What does Scar say? Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yeah, I
That's
live my
fair.
whole life by what Scar says out here. Be prepared.
That's a wild way to live life.
Interesting. So you always on the outskirts. You never
Yeah,
gonna be leading the pride.
you gotta always be ready.
All right,
Man.
that's an interesting way to live
All right.
life. But on that note, AJ, where can the people find you? What can they support from you, and what can they expect to see?
You can find me on Twitter 24/7. KNerd89.
That's the truth.
It's right there. There you go.
Oh,
Also, you
nice.
can find me on Collider. I write anime over there. I'm still working on my March ranking. I had like two more animes to catch up on. I'm finally going to start
Okay,
writing it.
we'll look forward to
It's been a
seeing it.
stressful right basically is all I'm saying. But yeah,
I
that's
can
those are the
imagine.
two places you can find me.
It's a lot.
Nice. We look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
Jamie, same for you. Where can they find you? What can they support, and what can they expect to be seeing in the coming months? or
Oh
weeks,
man,
you
I
know.
was coming on to like I don't know.
You know,
You
we don't
know,
gotta go that far out in advance.
I mean, I did talk with Did I don't I can't remember what podcast. I think it might have been the chat after, where I said, I want to start a video essay channel, and I wanted to make my
Mm-hmm.
first post by the end of the month. This month, I am very nervous about hitting that goal. I'm not
That was
going
this
to lie.
podcast
Wait,
last.
why are you
That was
nervous?
this podcast last week because I tried to push for March 1st. You already missed that.
No, that was Ditch. That wasn't me. That was me. But there's a lot going on right now. Just like in my own my personal life, but also just trying to keep up with the podcast and everything. So I might have to step away, be like, y'all, this is my Marvel moment where I go into the woods, I put my head down, and I just grind something out. But we'll have to see. But in the immediate future, I'm going to be playing Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 7 remake. Actually, I'm going to be starting with Intergrade and then going into Rebirth once I finish it. So by the time
That's
this
the way
comes
I
out,
told. That's how I told AJ I was gonna do it. He was like, "Nah, you don't need to."
Yeah.
From what I heard, it's like some of the best content that remake has to offer. So I'm like, I definitely want to see that because
Fair enough.
I already
Fair enough.
enjoyed it. But
How much is it? I might get it. How much is it?
I think you can still get the 2 bundle for $70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Never
definitely.
mind.
Where you
it's
get-
worth
I'm
it.
good.
You get the
You're getting 2 games.
you get the first
You're
game,
getting Rebirth
DLC,
and
and the second
remake.
game. Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
AJ, you gonna wait till it goes up
How
to
much
90.
did you think that this game was going to be?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. But yeah, by the time this
Oh,
comes
it's
out,
never
I'll be
mind. You
playing through
cannot
that.
get it for 70 anymore.
Oh damn. How much is it now?
It's probably
100.
90.
Oh yeah,
100.
definitely not. Never mind.
That was on you, man. That was on you. We
It
tried to let you
was.
know.
We did.
Tried.
You should have
Too
went back
late.
in time and tried
You
it.
trying to let me know too
We
late?
people have been posting this since forever since they announced that deal.
They have.
You should have
I
went back in
didn't get
time
none
and
of
did
those
it.
posts.
Bro, you gotta lock in. You gotta lock in on the Discord. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, that's what I'm about to.
Fair enough. You can find me at DidgeD, Dig_DEE. See all my gaming stuff, my streaming stuff, my lifestyle stuff. I don't really post lifestyle stuff, but maybe I'll
Ooh.
post some. We don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. You can obviously find us here on the Geekset Podcast Network channel. Hit the bell, hit the like, subscribe, keep updated with everything that we are doing. But until next time, and when we talk about to see what these predictions are like.
Yeah, let's go, Asajj.
Let's go, Asajj is crazy. Oh my god.